When Allah heals you, it is unlike any other form of healing. It is not partial, it is not temporary, and it is never incomplete. His healing touches the deepest layers of your being where no one else can reach. Sometimes when we are hurt by people or life itself, the wounds go beyond the physical way. They affect the heart, the mind, and even the soul. People may try to comfort us, give advice, or distract us from the pain. But there are parts of us that no human hand or word can truly mend. This is where the healing of Allah is so unique. It reaches the unseen scars, the silent cries, and the invisible burdens that you carry. When He decides to heal you, it is not just the pain that leaves, but the chains that kept you tied to it are broken forever. The moments of betrayal, the seasons of loneliness, the days of silent tears, they become part of a distant memory. You may still remember them, but they no longer define you, because Allah has taken away their power over you. The healing of Allah is not rushed. Sometimes He lets the pain remain for a while, not because He wants you to suffer, but because there is a purpose in that process. He allows you to grow through it, to learn what no book or lecture could ever teach you. He allows you to come to a point where you realize that no one else can truly save you except Him. And when you finally call out to Him with full sincerity, with a heart that has nowhere else to turn, that is when His healing begins in the most beautiful way. It is not an overnight change, but a transformation that feels like light slowly entering a dark room. You start to breathe easier, think clearer, and feel stronger, even if nothing around you has changed yet. That is the sign that His healing is taking place inside you. When Allah heals you, He does not simply cover the wound. He renews the part of you that was damaged. If you lost trust because of someone's betrayal, He gives you a trust that is placed in Him alone, one that cannot be broken by people's actions. If you lost joy because of grief, He gives you a joy that is rooted in His remembrance, one that does not depend on circumstances. If you lost hope because of disappointment, He gives you a hope that is anchored in His promises, one that does not fade when life becomes uncertain. This is why the same wound that once felt unbearable now feels like a distant memory that no longer has the power to hurt you again. His healing replaces weakness with strength, fear with courage, and pain with wisdom. Another beautiful thing about Allah's healing is that it is complete in a way human healing can never be. People can help you to an extent, but their help is limited by their own flaws, their own understanding, and their own capacity. Allah, however, knows exactly what you went through, exactly how you felt, and exactly what you need to move forward. He heals in ways you didn't even know you needed. He mends broken relationships when it is good for you, and He removes certain people from your life when they are not. He opens new doors you never thought would open, and He closes ones that would harm you. His healing is not just about removing the pain. It is about realigning your entire life so that you are better, stronger, and more at peace than you were before. When He heals you, you also begin to see the purpose behind the pain. You realize that the hardship you faced was not a punishment, but a preparation. Every tear you shed was watering the seeds of patience and faith inside you. Every trial you endured was shaping you into a version of yourself that could handle what you are about to receive. Without that pain, you would not have learned certain lessons, you would not have drawn closer to Him, and you would not have discovered your own strength. This realization itself is a part of His healing. It changes how you view your past and gives you peace about why things happened the way they did. Once Allah has healed you, you walk through life differently. You no longer fear the same wounds because you know they cannot break you again. The pain that once consumed you becomes a testimony of His mercy. You can look back at those moments and say with certainty, if Allah got me through that, He can get me through anything. This confidence is not arrogance, it is trust. It is the knowledge that the one who healed you before will always be there to heal you again if needed. And when you have that, you become unshakable. You know that no person, no trial, no loss can undo what Allah has done for you. That is why when Allah heals you, no one can hurt you again in the same way, because His healing is a shield over your heart, and His mercy is the safest place you can ever be. The moment Allah mends your heart, a transformation begins that changes the way you see yourself, the world, and the people around you. You no longer measure your worth by the opinions of others or the way they treat you. Before, you may have been deeply affected by the words and actions of those who hurt you, perhaps feeling worthless or undeserving of love. Their rejection might have left you questioning your own value, but when Allah steps in and heals you, that foundation is rebuilt on something unshakable. His approval. The realization that your worth comes from the one who created you and sustains you is a turning point. You understand that you are never defined by the cruelty, betrayal, or neglect of others, but by the fact that you are a servant of Allah, cherished and valued by Him. When your heart is restored by Allah, the power people once had to harm you begins to fade. The insults that used to cut deeply no longer define your self-image. The rejection that once left you feeling abandoned no longer shakes your confidence. This is because you now view yourself through the lens of faith. You see yourself as Allah sees you, as someone worthy of love, mercy, and guidance. That realization brings a quiet strength, the kind of strength that does not need constant validation from people. You can still appreciate kindness and encouragement, but you are no longer dependent on it for your peace of mind. This change in perspective also brings freedom. Before, you might have been trapped in cycles of trying to please people, going out of your way to gain their acceptance, even at the cost of your own dignity or happiness. But once Allah heals you, you no longer live for the approval of those who can never truly understand your worth. Instead, you live for the one whose approval actually matters, the one who will judge you in the hereafter. This shift makes you unshakable, because you know that if Allah is pleased with you, no amount of human disapproval can take away your honor in His sight. When Allah mends your heart, He also gives you clarity. You begin to recognize that the pain others caused you often came from their own flaws, weaknesses, or ignorance. You stop internalizing their actions as a reflection of your worth, and you start to see them for what they are, a test, a lesson, or even a means for your own spiritual growth. This clarity helps you respond to negativity with patience rather than despair. You are no longer as easily provoked because you are grounded in the knowledge that Allah is in control of every situation, and nothing reaches you except by His will. With a healed heart, you also start to choose your relationships differently. You gravitate towards people who uplift you, remind you of Allah, and treat you with kindness and respect. You are no longer desperate to hold on to those who constantly hurt you or undermine your worth. This is not arrogance, it is self-respect rooted in faith. You understand that your heart is a trust from Allah, and you have a responsibility to protect it from unnecessary harm. You can still forgive those who wrong you, but you no longer allow them to control your emotions or your life. This new strength does not mean you never feel pain again. You will still have moments of sadness or disappointment because you are human. But the difference is that your foundation is now solid. The storms of life may shake you, but they will not uproot you. Your sense of self is anchored in Allah's love and mercy, not in the unstable opinions or actions of people. This is why, after Allah heals your heart, you can face the same challenges that once crushed you and remain standing with peace and dignity intact. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this transformation is the peace that comes with it. You no longer live in fear of who might hurt you next or how you will cope. You trust that if Allah allowed someone to walk away from your life, it was for your good. You believe that if He closes one door, He will open another that is better for you. This peace allows you to focus on what truly matters: your relationship with Him, your purpose in this life, and your preparation for the next. And with this focus, you live each day with the quiet confidence that as long as Allah is with you, no one can take away your worth, your joy, or your inner strength ever again. When Allah heals you, He also teaches you in ways that change the course of your life. You begin to understand that nothing you went through was meaningless, that every tear you shed and every moment of struggle had a purpose far greater than you could see at the time. In the middle of pain, it can feel as though you are being crushed, left in darkness with no way out. You might have questioned why certain things happened, why certain people hurt you, or why you had to face difficulties that seemed unbearable. But when Allah brings healing, He also brings clarity, and you start to see that your trials were never there to destroy you. They were there to shape you into someone stronger, wiser, and more connected to Him. The hardships you faced were not without reason. Allah does not burden a soul beyond what it can bear. And that means every single challenge was within your ability to overcome, even if you did not believe it at the time. The sleepless nights, the unanswered questions, the times you felt abandoned, all of these moments were drawing you closer to him. They were stripping away your reliance on people, teaching you that true reliance must be placed in the one who never fails. Before the pain, you might have depended too much on others for your happiness, your stability, or even your self-worth. Through the struggle, Allah showed you the limitations of human beings and the limitless nature of His mercy and power. Every test carried a lesson, and those lessons are part of His healing. Perhaps you learned patience when you thought you had none. Perhaps you discovered that you could forgive even when forgiveness felt impossible. Perhaps you realized that your strength was far greater than you imagined, not because of you, but because Allah was carrying you through it all. These lessons are not just for the moment. They stay with you for the rest of your life, guiding how you think, how you act, and how you respond to future challenges. They become a source of resilience, allowing you to face difficulties without the same fear or despair you once felt. When Allah teaches you through hardship, He also changes how you view your past. Instead of seeing only pain, you start to see preparation. You understand that if certain things had not happened, you would not have developed the faith, wisdom, or humility you have now. You begin to thank Him for the very moments that once made you cry, because you now see that they were necessary steps on your journey to becoming who you are today. This shift in perspective is one of the most powerful signs of His healing. The past no longer feels like a chain holding you back, but a foundation that strengthens you. His teaching also extends to how you handle the future. Once you have learned the lessons embedded in your trials, you are less likely to fall into the same traps again. If you once ignored warning signs in relationships, you now recognize them early. If you once allowed fear to stop you from pursuing something good, you now move forward with courage. If you once reacted to difficulty with anger or hopelessness, you now respond with patience and trust. Allah's healing protects you not just from the pain of the past, but from repeating it in the future. It is as though He closes a chapter of your life completely, sealing it so that it cannot harm you in the same way again. This growth is not about becoming perfect. It is about becoming aware. You become more aware of your own weaknesses and how to guard against them. You become more aware of the whispers of shaitan and how to resist them. You become more aware of the signs Allah sends you, guiding you toward what is good and away from what will harm you. And with this awareness, you live with a deeper sense of purpose and direction. The beauty of Allah's teaching is that it comes with compassion. He does not expose your flaws to humiliate you, but to help you rise above them. He does not let you go through pain without also equipping you with the strength and wisdom to use it for your benefit. And when you embrace these lessons, your relationship with Him grows in ways it never could have without the hardship. You trust Him more, you love Him more, and you turn to Him more quickly when you face new challenges. In the end, the trials you once wished away become the very experiences that built you into someone who can walk through life with faith, strength, and dignity. You know that pain will still come, because this world is a place of tests. But you also know that you have already faced storms and survived by the mercy of Allah. That knowledge gives you peace. It gives you confidence. And it ensures that when new challenges arise, you will meet them not with fear, but with the quiet certainty that the one who healed you before will heal you again. When Allah heals you, He does not only remove the pain from your heart, He cleanses it from the bitterness, resentment, and grudges that may have built up over time. Often when people hurt us, the wound is not just in the moment of the offense, but in the way we keep carrying that offense in our hearts. We replay the incident in our minds, reliving the words, the actions, and the feelings, and in doing so, we keep the wound open. We tell ourselves we have moved on, but deep inside, the hurt remains like a thorn, quietly affecting how we see people and even how we see life. But when Allah heals you, He removes that thorn completely. He does not leave it buried under the surface. He pulls it out, tends to the wound, and replaces the pain with peace. Part of His healing is that He grants you the ability to forgive, not because the other person necessarily deserves it, but because you deserve to live free of that burden. Forgiveness in this sense is not about saying what happened was right. It is about freeing yourself from the constant drain of carrying anger. Sometimes we hold on to resentment thinking it will somehow punish the other person, but in reality it only harms us. It keeps our hearts heavy, our minds restless, and our emotions trapped in the past. Allah's healing allows you to let go of that weight, to release it entirely into His hands, trusting that He will deal with justice in His perfect way. You no longer feel the need to seek revenge or dwell on the harm, because you believe in His wisdom and His timing. When the bitterness is removed, your heart becomes lighter. You start to feel joy more easily because it is no longer clouded by unhealed pain. You notice blessings around you that you may have overlooked before. You find yourself smiling without a reason, sleeping with a calmer mind, and waking up with gratitude instead of dread. This lightness is one of the clearest signs that Allah has truly healed you. You are no longer living as a prisoner of your past. Even if the memories remain, they no longer control your emotions or dictate your future. This kind of healing also changes how you interact with others. When your heart is cleansed of grudges, you can engage with people from a place of sincerity rather than suspicion. You no longer assume the worst in everyone because of what a few people did to you. You learn to separate individuals from your past experiences, giving each person a fair chance without the shadow of old wounds hanging over them. This not only improves your relationships, but it also opens the door for you to receive more kindness, because people sense when your heart is open and genuine. Another gift of this healing is that you begin to protect your peace more intentionally. You understand the value of a clean heart, so you avoid situations, conversations, and even habits that might reintroduce bitterness into your life. You learn to walk away from toxic environments without guilt, knowing that your emotional and spiritual well-being is a trust from Allah. This is not about avoiding pain at all costs, because life will always have challenges. It is about not allowing unnecessary harm to keep finding its way into your heart. Allah's removal of bitterness is also a mercy in how it affects your worship. A heart heavy with grudges often struggles to fully connect in prayer, to find joy in remembrance, or to recite Quran with focus. When your heart is cleansed, you notice a renewed sweetness in your worship. Your du'as feel more heartfelt, your sujood feels more peaceful, and your connection to Allah deepens. This is because the heart is no longer clogged with negative emotions. It is freer to absorb light, guidance, and tranquility. Letting go of resentment also changes how you see the person who wronged you. You may not forget what they did, and you may still keep a healthy distance, but you stop wishing them harm. You can look at them without the same anger or pain that once consumed you. This does not mean you approve of their actions, but it means you no longer allow those actions to hold power over you. And that is a victory, not for them, but for you. It is the result of Allah's mercy working in your heart, giving you the strength to rise above what hurt you. Ultimately, this stage of healing is about freedom. Freedom from the chains of what was done to you, freedom from the emotions that held you back, and freedom to live fully in the present. When Allah heals you in this way, you begin to understand the true meaning of peace. It is not the absence of challenges, but the presence of a heart that is content, trusting in Him, and free from unnecessary burdens. And once you have experienced that, you guard it carefully, knowing that it is one of the most precious gifts you can receive in this life. When Allah heals you, He places a shield over your heart, one that no human being can remove. This shield is not something visible, but its effect is profound. It is the protection that comes from knowing that your trust is no longer placed in the unpredictable hands of people, but in the one who holds the hearts of all people. Before, you may have been vulnerable to the hurtful words and actions of others because your sense of safety depended on how they treated you. One comment, one betrayal, or one act of rejection could shake you to your core. But when Allah heals you, He strengthens you from within so deeply that those same actions lose the power they once had over you. People might still try to harm you, but the wounds no longer pierce the way they used to because your heart is now guarded by His mercy. This shield is a gift that comes with faith and experience. After enduring pain and then being lifted from it by Allah's grace, you develop a kind of spiritual armor. It's not that life suddenly becomes free of negativity. There will still be criticism, misunderstandings, and even malice from others. But you see these things differently now. You understand that no harm can touch you unless Allah allows it, and if He allows it, then it carries some hidden good for you. This understanding changes your reactions. Instead of breaking down or losing hope when someone wrongs you, you respond with patience and perspective. You take your concerns to Allah rather than letting them consume your heart. The shield Allah gives you also means you stop overvaluing people's opinions. Before, praise might have lifted you up and criticism might have crushed you. But now you see both for what they are. Fleeting human judgments that hold no weight compared to Allah's view of you. You no longer chase after approval from those who are quick to change their minds. You focus instead on pleasing Allah, knowing that if He is pleased with you, the rest will fall into place. This mindset creates a powerful resilience because it frees you from being emotionally dependent on the shifting attitudes of others. Another sign of this shield is that your peace becomes harder to steal. There may still be moments that sting, but the deep kind of hurt that lingers and drains your joy is no longer something you allow to stay in your heart. You learn to hand it over to Allah quickly, asking Him to deal with it in His way. This habit keeps your heart light, because you don't store up pain the way you once did. You refuse to give space in your heart to grudges or endless overthinking about someone's words or actions. Instead, you guard your emotional energy and invest it in what truly benefits you. Your relationship with Allah, your growth, and your peace. This divine protection also gives you the courage to face new challenges without fear of being broken again. In the past, certain experiences might have left you hesitant to try new things or to open your heart again. But now, you know that even if pain comes, Allah will heal you once more. That knowledge gives you the confidence to move forward in life without being paralyzed by the what-ifs. You stop living in the shadow of past hurts and start living in the light of present blessings. The shield over your heart is not a wall that makes you cold or distant. It's a filter that allows love, kindness, and goodness to enter while blocking what is harmful. It helps you maintain healthy boundaries so you can connect with others sincerely without losing yourself in the process. You learn to love for the sake of Allah, which means you can care deeply without becoming dependent on someone else for your happiness. This way, even if someone disappoints you, it does not destroy you, because your foundation is not built on them, but on Him. The most beautiful thing about this shield is that it keeps you connected to Allah in both ease and difficulty. Because you have experienced His protection before, you trust Him more with every new situation. You turn to Him instinctively, not just when you are in pain, but in gratitude when you are at peace. This constant connection becomes your safe place, your refuge from the ups and downs of life. And as long as you remain under His care, you know that no one can truly harm you. When Allah heals you and shields your heart, you become someone who moves through life with quiet strength. You are not untouched by the world, but you are unshaken by it. You see clearly, you act wisely, and you rest peacefully in the knowledge that the one who guards your heart is the one who owns it. And with that assurance, you live knowing that no matter what people say or do, your heart is protected by the most powerful protection there is. When Allah heals you, He gives you something even more powerful than relief from the pain. He gives you hope. It is a hope that is not tied to people, situations, or outcomes, but to Him alone. You begin to understand that your story is not over just because you went through hardship. In fact, you realize that the very pain you endured is part of what prepared you for what lies ahead. This hope is not wishful thinking. It is rooted in the certainty that Allah is the most merciful, the most wise, and the best of planners. You look at the future differently, no longer fearing what is to come, because you trust the one who holds it. Before His healing, your life might have felt like it was defined by your wounds. Every step forward may have been weighed down by the memories of betrayal, loss, or disappointment. But when Allah replaces that pain with hope, your focus shifts from what happened to what can happen. You stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, what is Allah preparing me for? This shift transforms your outlook on life. You start to believe again. Believe in goodness and blessings and second chances and in the possibility of joy returning to your life. The hope Allah plants in your heart is not naive. It does not deny that life will have challenges. Rather, it acknowledges them but refuses to be crushed by them. You know that more tests will come, because this life is meant to be a place of trials, but you also know that the one who healed you before can heal you again and again. That knowledge makes you fearless in the face of uncertainty. You no longer avoid life out of fear of being hurt, because you have experienced firsthand that no wound is too deep for Allah's mercy to reach. This renewed hope changes how you wake up in the morning. Instead of dreading the day ahead, you wake with anticipation for what Allah might bless you with. You start to see even small things as signs of His kindness. A kind word from a stranger, an answered prayer, an unexpected opportunity. You recognize these moments not as coincidences, but as reminders that Allah is always present in your life, guiding you and granting you what is best. Even when something doesn't go according to your plan, you hold on to the hope that His plan is better. This hope is like light in your chest, pushing back the shadows of doubt and despair. Hope also makes you more patient. When you know that Allah's timing is perfect, you stop rushing the process. You understand that delays are not denials, and that every waiting period is filled with unseen blessings and preparation. You can endure seasons of uncertainty without breaking, because you trust that they are part of a greater story being written for your benefit. And in those moments of waiting, you find peace instead of frustration, because your hope is not in the timing you want, but in the wisdom of the one who knows when the time is truly right. This hope inspires action as well. It is not a passive feeling where you simply sit back and expect everything to change. Rather, it fuels you to strive, to make efforts, to seek the opportunities Allah places before you. You start walking towards what is good for you, knowing that every step you take is supported by His guidance. Even if you stumble, you do not give up, because your hope reminds you that Allah is more concerned with your persistence than your perfection. Perhaps the most beautiful part of this hope is the way it removes the fear of the unknown. You can look ahead without anxiety, because you know that no matter what happens, Allah will be with you. Whether the future brings ease or difficulty, you trust that it will be exactly what you need at that time. You no longer measure your life by whether it is free from problems, but by whether it is filled with Allah's presence. And with that presence, you are never truly alone, never truly lost, and never truly hopeless. When Allah heals you and fills your heart with this kind of hope, you live differently. You smile more easily, forgive more quickly, and dream more freely. You understand that the one who took you from a place of pain to a place of peace can take you from where you are now to somewhere even better. You walk through life with a quiet confidence, knowing that whatever lies ahead has already been planned with wisdom, written with love, and prepared with mercy. And that is why once Allah heals you, you can live with the unshakable assurance that the best is yet to come.